Thank you so
on the
much.
show this week. We brought you back on a nice
Beautiful.
show where we got three sets of fantastic guests.
Absolutely. 3 sets.
Lined up. 3 sets.
I think the last one I know.
The last one you might be the least excited about. But we're going to be joined shortly by Erica Mitchell. She's the owner of Sweet Art Emporium, a local small business here in the greater Charlottesville area, followed by Joshua Raimundo, who is the strategic director of the Libre Institute of Virginia.
Wow, okay.
Talking about Hispanic entrepreneurship, the free market, all those wonderful things, the Latino business owner. And then last but not least, Nicholas Serpi, the CMO of Emergent Financial Services, will come on with his review and preview of Charlottesville Opera's upcoming opera this week.
Oh, that should be exciting.
So that should be...
Do we have any sugar on here?
You have any sugar?
Any sugar? Yeah.
You mean like a café con leche?
Yeah, there you are. Café con leche. That's what I need.
Café con leche. I mean, it sounds like it was a fantastic experience.
I'm sure it was. I'm sure it was.
That
Yeah.
we're behind the scenes. So
Those are the best. Those are the best. I remember once I did that in Lincoln Center. So they allowed students to go, literally it was Thursday before their show, and I went there once, and it was fabulous because you can see the director and tell them what to do, how to do it, why it didn't sound well, and it was just fabulous. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So it's
So
good.
we have a great deal in store. So we're looking forward to all 3 of our guests this morning. Be sure to like and share the program. Already got some people tuning in, liking and sharing the show. Send us any comments, any questions you have for our guests. We'll be happy to read them on air and let them know what you're thinking. And of course, be sure to settle down into your wonderful little nook and cranny wherever you like to watch the show with your café con leche, and we'll get started shortly. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Today y Mañana. I'm Alex. This is Xavier. We're very excited to have you joining us this morning on the I Love Seville network. It's a beautiful morning here in
Gorgeous
Charlotte,
morning,
Virginia.
yes.
It's a morning that definitely foretells a hot day. So
The minute I walked out that door, I said, "Wait a minute. What time is it?"
Summer,
It feels
and
like
is
it's later.
Virginia.
Yeah.
And definitely feels like that this morning, but that doesn't mean it's not a good time to have your café con leche.
No,
as we
definitely
love to
not.
say.
Always.
And you can make it iced if you want to cool off a little bit. So really excited to have you back on the show.
Thank you so
this
much.
week.
Delighted
I really
to be
enjoyed
back.
being with Michael as well. I have to say, there's probably some audience members that are saying, "Oh, where's Michael? I wish he was still here."
The younger,
But,
the younger audience, which is basically everybody.
It's basically everyone. We're always love being here on the I Love Seville network set with you. Always appreciate being presented by Emergent Financial Services and powered by the Gym Seville, by Castle Hill Cider, by Aqua Seville Hand Car Wash, by our friends Miguel and Chick at Credit Serious Insurance, by our friend Johan Torres at GBS Financial Services, and by Forward Adelante, the premier Latino networking group here in Charlottesville, Virginia. So we have a great show lined up.
We do,
This morning
we do.
We're going to be joined shortly by Erica Mitchell, who is the owner of Sweet Art Emporium, a fantastic local business, followed by Joshua Raimundo, strategic director of the Libre Institute of Virginia, who is going to talk about just what the Institute does, the 4 pillars of the Institute, prosperous Hispanic communities,
Terrific.
really Hispanic entrepreneurship, and the free market here in the United States of America. So fantastic subjects. That
Looking
we love.
for- absolutely,
We love
looking
more
forward
than
to
our
it.
Latino community, being Cuban immigrant
Exactly.
to the United States of America, so that's fantastic. And then last but not least, Nicholas Serpi, the CMO of Emergent Financial Services, will join us with his review of The Merry Widow from Charlottesville Opera. So we got a lot going on today. Already got some fantastic people tuning in. Rosalia Trodaro, thanks for watching the show this morning. We got Bob Aller, thank you. Lucrecia Morales from Sombreros here in Charlottesville.
Hola, Lucrecia.
Gracias.
Buenos días.
Buenos días, Lucrecia. Michael Lampros, thanks for watching. Deviani Doradia from here in Charlottesville, thank you for watching. So just a lot of wonderful guests tuning in this morning, which we love to see.
Well, they heard about Sweet Art.
They heard about
just
Sweet
that
Art
word
this morning. They
"sweet" gets me going,
they
right?
said, Elizabeth Irby, thank you for watching this morning. Exactly, they said sweet plus art. plus Emporium. That sounds wonderful.
That's right, exactly.
So why not tune in and enjoy it? So I don't know about you, but I'm excited and ready to get going.
Absolutely. Erica's here, and I think she's also excited and ready to go.
Fantastic, fantastic. So we're really thrilled to welcome to the show this morning Erica Mitchell. She is the owner of Sweet Art Emporium. Erica, thanks so much for joining us this morning.
Good morning.
Thanks for having me. Good morning.
So, I mean, for those who don't know you or haven't yet visited Sweet Art Emporium, which you should do, tell us how you started it and how you came to start this shop and what it is.
Well, the shop came about as an accident. A sort of a midlife crisis, need to change and do something new. But the shop itself, it's a gift shop. It specializes in only Virginia-made sweets and locally crafted artwork. So we have about 70 local artists.
Wow,
mostly
terrific.
from Fluvanna. So we are located in Palmyra Village in Fluvanna.
Okay.
And most of those artists are from Fluvanna. This was their first opportunity to show their work and share it with others. So that was part of the goal. Mm-hmm. I was making artwork, my own jewelry, sterling silver jewelry, in my spare time while I was doing sort of social work and nonprofit work to bring home a paycheck. Mm-hmm. And eventually it was obvious that I needed to step away from that kind of work. And so I did what I'd always wanted to do, which was to make a shop where locals could present their work and other locals could come and find their work.
No, that's true. That's fantastic.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. And really special because I know one of my common frustrations is you go to a gift shop or you want something Charlottesville-based, Fluvanna-based, Virginia-based, and a lot of the stuff in there is not made here. And I'm like,
You turn around, it says made in China.
Yeah,
It's
I
like,
kind of want
wait a minute.
something that is actually representative of the local community.
Exactly.
So it's wonderful to have a place where you know if you go there, the sweets, the wares, the artwork, like it's made by people who live here.
Yes.
And it's made here, so which is a beautiful thing, especially as a gift shop, as that place where you can get something special for someone and say, this was made here in the Charlottesville area.
Yes, and it's a gift shop rather than a gallery because I wanted to make sure that it was accessible to more people that way.
Exactly.
And that the folks who have their wares there they're more accessible to folks as well. So that's just the whole idea behind it. The shop itself is located on Route 15 in Palmyra, so we're just south of Zion's Crossroads.
Oh, very easy to get to.
Yes, and it's in the really sweet, historic, teeny tiny village. We have, I joke with people that we're about 4 blocks long, so you can't miss anything that's in the village. But we do have a few little sweet shops, but mine is the very first one that you come to when you're going south on Route 15.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, it really is. It really is.
Super easy.
Just to take a little trip out there, have lunch at our friends El Mariachi from Johnny Ordinella's.
That's
on
right,
Zion's
exactly,
Crossroads,
exactly.
And then drive right in.
Yes.
To Palmyra
And have some little sweets.
Have some
Exactly.
sweets.
Yeah.
Well,
Or
we're
other,
at it.
you know. And I guess the beauty is, sometimes what happens is, there's something that you enjoy doing, and whether it be, making candy or jellies or whatever it may be, right? But you're not going to be able to make enough to really go to a major supermarket and say, I want to sell my wares, because it's just, you can't keep up with that kind of demand. But to have a small shop where it's like you can now show, what you're made of and, that people are going to come and shop, I mean, that's just a great idea.
So we're definitely supporting people's dreams, and
Yes.
that's essential. But also, I know all of these artists. I've met them all. It's a very small, intimate shop, so we get to have lots of conversations about how the items were made, who made them. I love telling the stories behind. Now, you guys had Herbert's wine jellies on, I think,
Yes.
last week.
Oh, that's right.
And I definitely have her products. So we have the wine jelly and the peanut butter. So you can have your best possible peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
That's a great idea, that's right.
And then items like Red Rocker candy, which is made in Fluvanna.
Oh, really? And so exactly, so what is that? I mean, anything that says candy I like, so I'm just trying to figure it out.
That's another.
That looks
so
like the
I try-
old-fashioned candies that I used to have as a little kid.
So I try everything, so there's not, so you can be guaranteed that everything tastes really great. I wasn't a fan of white chocolate before I tried
Okay.
Red Rocker. This stuff is addictive. My goal right at this moment is to have, to get one of these to last 3 days in my house. Once it's been opened, that hasn't occurred yet.
So there's white chocolate in there?
Yes.
Oh, they made,
Wow.
Yes.
Jerry's
It's like-
excited. I in the back.
Yeah. I might have to leave this for you, and you can.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, you can find out. Seville Candy Company is actually, they actually make their products in Louisa. It's in Kent's store, which is, most of Kent's store is in Fluvanna. So he tells me he's only about 600 yards off the line. So he's almost from Fluvanna. This is his pecan taffy, which is my Achilles heel.
and I've
I wish I
had
hadn't
his.
tried
I've
that
had
one.
his, yes.
We've had
The
that.
chocolates he makes are just unbelievable.
Yes, in a tiny little kitchen. It's just, and I go and pick these products up. So there's no shipping. That's also important to
Okay.
me, that we keep everything as environmentally friendly as
Sure.
possible. So I also picked these up in Charlottesville. This is Chocolatesville. These are the dark chocolate caramel cubes with
Oh, dark
pink
chocolate.
pink sea salt. This is the #1 top selling item in my whole shop.
Dark
Oh,
chocolate, see?
man, I mean, dark chocolate caramel.
I tell you,
Yeah.
dark chocolate always works.
Yes.
Caramel helps too.
I have one more product that's made in Charlottesville that we really love. It's the shortbread at Found Market. That one, they have all kinds of different flavors. My favorite is the salted rosemary because it's sweet and savory.
They're at the same time.
And
So you
yes.
brought all your favorites, what you're telling us.
Oh, yes,
I know you like them
absolutely.
all,
It's
but-
all my favorites. Yep. And then I have a couple that are a little bit further off. This is taffy that's made in Virginia Beach. But a fun fact about that one is that I actually went to school with the family that, in junior high, the family that makes this taffy. So I go down there and get it, pick it up once a year so that we have a fresh batch. But there are a few others that I couldn't bring with me today because the humidity is too high. So-
That just means people have to go to the shop.
Yes.
To see.
There you are, exactly.
Absolutely. Yep, and those are just the sweets. So we also have lots of fine art that's made locally. Would you be interested in seeing any of those?
Sure, absolutely. Yes.
Absolutely.
All right.
We'd love to hear
So you
about
brought
those.
basically half of the store here.
I did. It was actually very hard for me to decide what to bring.
Of course.
Didn't want to get in trouble.
Completely understand.
Yes, because I'm going to leave out, if I have 75 artists, I'm going to leave out 70, but this is a cedar bowl that was made by Tom Grinnell, and
Wow.
it's so smooth.
It looks beautiful.
This
It
is what
really
I
is.
used to bring the sweets in today. It's beautiful, and the craftsmanship is just absolutely perfect. And Tom only uses wood that he's found. Like people will bring him parts of a dead tree that has fallen on their property, and then he transforms it into these works of art, and it's just amazing.
That's gorgeous. I mean, I know we've had some cedar trees fall on our property, and I have to admit, it has a beautiful color. It also has
Yeah.
that, oiliness to it, which I suspect helps in keeping it really nice
Yes.
and moist, that
It
wood.
makes it really smooth.
Yeah, very smooth.
Yep.
Very nice, very
That's
nice.
amazing.
Yeah.
Let's see. I brought a basket that was made by Sandy. So she's a basket maker.
Oh, wow, look at that.
In Fluvanna.
Very colorful.
And this was perfect for hauling all of my goodies into the
There you
studio
are.
today. This is one of our Fluvanna artists that I think gets missed a lot. She makes miniatures. So
Oh, my
this is a
goodness.
replica of the Fruit Hill Orchard Museum. So if you go to Fluvanna, and you have to make a stop at Fruit Hill Orchard, but at the very back of their property, they have this tiny little building, and Cap Stanfield can make anything out of anything. She's
Wow.
just absolutely amazing.
That's amazing. Yeah, it really is.
That someone could make that.
That's very
She-
pretty.
when she first started coming to the shop, I would ask her, like, how did you make those little tiny flowers? Because they're made. She didn't purchase any of this. So she made them out of the herbs in her
Oh, my goodness.
herb
Oh, she
closet.
dried the herbs and then
Yes.
spray painted them,
Yes.
something like that, I guess?
Yes.
Oh, my goodness.
Wow.
Amazing.
That's so
I just really like to show her work.
See, that's a creativity which you don't think about, right? So people have ways of being able to take, just normal things for nature,
Yeah.
and create something like that. It's just amazing.
And you can't find things like this everywhere. Like
No,
you have
this is-
to-
this is what you're
this
talking
is
about.
Those unique items that you
Yeah.
can only find in a place like
Exactly.
Garden Emporium. Like you
Exactly.
can't just walk into any store and find something where someone took the time to make every element of a beautiful miniature.
And these are all artists that I've come to know really well. So I know their background. I know that Cap lived originally in Virginia, but then lived many years in Texas. And she recently came back, and she's brought the skill with her. Now that she's retired, she spends every single day making these little things, and I can share that with the folks that come in
Sure,
and
sure.
fall in love with her work.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of conversation and community, I think, happening in the shop. We do also offer, I offer classes through after hours, so we do jewelry and metalsmithing in the shop
Okay.
to bring people together. I do require masks are still worn since we're so close to each other, but that's just to protect our community. And then 4 times a year, we have an art show down in our tiny little village. And that brings out not necessarily the same artists, but that brings out our local artists, our local food vendors. So I only get contract with local food trucks,
Oh, that's fantastic.
Fluvanna first, and then again, circling out into the greater community. Local musicians, we're just all local.
That's amazing. So when can we expect the next one of those?
Ooh,
Coming up this fall?
September 10th will be our next one.
September 10th.
So put that on your calendars.
Okay, so this is at that place where your store is, basically?
So it's one block, so again, it's only 4 blocks, so if you're in
Right.
the village, you're not gonna miss it.
Okay.
But it's 1 block away from my
All
shop.
right.
And there are 3 other little shops in the village that will be open during the same time, so.
Wonderful.
And the village is also home to some really historic buildings. So we have the old stone jail and the old courthouse. They were both built in about 1828.
Oh,
So there's a lot to see down
Yeah.
there in that
And
tiny
it's
little
a-
compact space.
and it's a beautiful ride down there. I mean, that's a
It is.
nice thing. It's a nice little, in a way, a country road. I mean, I call it a country road. Maybe here they don't call it country roads anymore. Who knows? But I mean, I'm originally from New York, so anything smaller than
Oh, yes.
4 lanes is a country road. But the idea is it's a nice ride, and then you stop, and that's exactly what I like. You stop, and you're able to walk around, go into different
Relax.
shops, see some, historic buildings, like the
Yep.
jail. That's fantastic.
And
That's
you're
really
going to
good.
have some real conversations with people. I think
Yeah.
that is what people have really been starved for.
I think so.
Post-COVID, I think.
I think so.
Absolutely,
I think
absolutely.
so.
Speaking of conversation, one of your biggest fans is commenting, Jess Walter Sifitsari from Painted Orange,
Yes.
saying, "Yay, Erica! Everything in her shop is incredible, and she puts on some amazing events in Fluvanna." So thanks for watching, Jess. Absolutely agree, 100%.
She's my counterpart in Orange, so she does the events in Orange that I'm doing in Fluvanna.
Fluvanna, and I know she was in a CIC work group
Yes.
with you. I mean, could you tell us? I mean, I always love being on the CIC board. I love everything that comes out of the organization. Can you speak to sort of what that process was like going through CIC workshop to work on this business and
Yes,
grow it?
again, an accident. So I started off by saying that my shop started as an accident. That meant I didn't have a business plan. So I accidentally found that the class was available the day before the deadline. So
Wow.
I was super excited to get in. And then I met Jess and Carolyn Herbert and so many other fantastic people. And I think the biggest thing that I learned from the class was that it's okay to pay yourself.
Oh, yes.
And in fact, you should be paying
You should be
yourself
there.
if you're running a business. So they helped me achieve that. And the connections that I made both with the people and then their businesses, it's just been amazing. If you are thinking about starting a new business, you definitely need to meet other people, even if their business isn't the same. Like Jess and I have similar businesses. Carolyn makes the sweets that I can have in my shop, but I also met folks who had hair salons and a realtor and an ice cream maker, and I can't have ice cream in my shop because it's too cold. But there's just all of those people are still supporting each other.
Exactly.
In both business and in personal lives. So it's really been fabulous.
I think that's, not only that, it's called networking, right? And second of all, you learn from everybody. Everybody starts a business and everybody's new to a certain respect. Some people maybe have done it once before or twice before, and it's nice to be able to say, by the way, don't do this because it really doesn't work, or you're going to stumble here, and if you stumble here, this is how to fix it. So, it's just, I know the CIC does a fantastic job in the first place, but second of all, just meeting so many people that are, in a way, are in the same boat you are. You're just starting, right, in most cases. I think that's just great.
Yes.
The exchange of ideas is fantastic.
Yeah, the people that I've met have helped out. Like I recently had an emergency closure at my building, so I had to close for a week and a half, and I also had to evacuate all of the artwork and candy from the shop. And I had to do that immediately, and it was a Saturday.
Oh.
So I had connections in place already that I never knew that was going to happen. I didn't know that was a possibility.
Right.
But I had met people, and those people talked to other people, and within, I don't know, half an hour maybe, I already had a place to move all of my merchandise to keep it safe.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, that's great. Exactly.
The power of a community like that.
That's right.
Of local small business owners, and then the people they know who support them, and just it's fantastic.
Yep.
Last question I usually ask, but I know that we've talked about where your shop is located, but where else can people get in touch with you, contact you, find your shop?
Well, thanks to CIC, I think I've got everything covered now. I have a website, thanks to their connections. That's sweetartemporium.com. There's also a shopping site on Square, so that's sweetartemporium.square, I think, .net, .square.net. Facebook, Instagram, there are even some TikTok videos out there, and of course you can come to the shop Wednesday through Saturday, 11 to 4, we're at 13652 James Madison Highway, which is Route 50 in Palmyra.
Fantastic. So many ways.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Especially
All
going
the
there,
ways
again,
to get connected.
going there has to be the best,
Absolutely. Well, Rita, thank you so much for joining us this
Absolutely.
morning.
This has
Thank you
been
for having
delightful,
me.
delightful.
Absolute
Yeah.
pleasure.
Yeah.
Love everything that you have in your shop. And just,
Yes, you'll have to come try that. I'm leaving the Red Rocker.
Oh, thank you so much. and we will be by to try everything else. That's for sure.
No, in our family, it won't last 3 days either. Maybe even less than one.
Well, that just means we'll have to go back. We'll be back numerous times. Thank you so much. It's been an
Thank you so
absolute
much,
pleasure.
yeah.
Thank you.
It's funny, I remember when your mother and I were young, my parents and her family had a little house up in the woods and near the Catskill Mountains, right? And there was a little shop called the Emporium, and I know Jen, your mother, used to love to go there all the time. The same thing, local things, the soaps, the candies, in some cases they had some knickknacks, antiques and things like that. And that reminds me, because it's called the Emporium too, and that reminds me of that. It's a great place. The same thing. It's like only like 1 block long, 2 or 3 stores. Boom, you went there, you walked around, you felt just the vibration of that community right there, right? And this is the same thing.
The best places to find things for yourself, but also gifts.
Exactly.
Because the gifts that you can find in places that are special, they're unique,
Yeah.
and they send the message to the person
Yeah,
you're
they
giving
say
it to.
something. Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly. Yeah.
They say this is important.
Yeah.
I wanted you to know how much I care by finding you something like this.
Exactly. Something unique, something
unique
special.
and
Yeah.
special.
Yeah.
So
Terrific.
that's awesome. Definitely would encourage people to visit. And don't forget, on September 10th, is
September
the
10th.
Artisan Fair in Fluvanna.
I got to write that down.
So in the village, you can't miss it. So the key is just mark your calendars for September 10th.
Very good.
This fall. So from one fantastic desk to another, we're switching gears here. Going to talk a little bit about small business, but also the Latino community.
Exactly.
We love
Yes.
so much.
Yes. I'm looking forward to
And
this.
so we're really excited to welcome to the show Joshua Raimundo. He is the strategic director for the Libre Institute of Virginia. Joshua, thanks so much for joining us this morning.
Yeah, thanks for having me here. This is a great studio. It was kind of hard to find the place. I'm not from the area, but really a big privilege to be here and talk about what Libre Institute does. So,
Fantastic.
Yeah, I gave Jerry all the ideas how to put this together, so,
yeah, okay. Xavier gets all the credit. Yeah.
Now, he's done a fantastic job here. It's amazing. It really
It
is.
is. No, we
Yeah.
love being on this set. It's just a fantastic way to just meet people and find out about new organizations like yours, or in this case, new to us.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about both the Libre Institute and how you came to be connected with it.
Yeah, let's just start with kind of why I got connected to it.
Absolutely.
So I grew up in Northern Virginia. I've been very involved in my church. We speak entirely Spanish there.
Wow.
And
Amazing.
I just was really connected to some of the struggles of the Hispanic community, things surrounding immigration, and just learning English, and then a desire to really pursue the American dream, and this drive for entrepreneurship. So I was always really connected to that, just organically as a child. And then it turns out that I played soccer growing up, and one of my teammates' parents was actually a lawyer at Libre, and he was like, "You should apply for this position." So I did, and here I am. And so that's how I got connected. But when I learned that there was an organization out there that was really advocating for pursuing the American dream, for helping Latino and Hispanic business owners advance, for learning English, and then just really training people with the tools and resources and philosophy that free-minded economics gives us, I was just like, this is the place for me.
Absolutely.
And
yeah.
Started on the lowest rungs of the ladder, and after 4 years now, I'm the strategic director in Virginia. So really humbled to be in this position. But I've been with the Institute for 4 years, and straight out of college, it's what I've been doing.
And that's fantastic. And then I know, so I heard about the 4 pillars, and I don't know what they
I'd
are.
love
So
to
maybe
hear
you.
about it, 'cause I know
Yeah.
when you go to the website of the Libre Institute, there's 4 key pillars that you all focus on.
Yeah.
In terms of empowering Hispanic communities. So maybe you could talk a little bit about those. And
Yeah, so the 4 pillars are economic progress, education, faith, and family. All right, and these are things that are really important to all Americans, I would say. Let's just start with economic progress. Our motto, nuestra lema, is freedom drives progress. La libertad impulsa el progreso. And we believe that where there is more freedom in the law, but also more freedom in our own minds, in our own attitudes, as we remove those internal barriers that stop us from pursuing our dreams, we think that there's going to be more progress. Freedom definitely applies with external barriers, correct? Like if there are laws that make it harder to start a business, or if tax burdens are super high,
Absolutely.
These are barriers that can stop us from pursuing our dreams and pursuing the American dream. But also, what Libre Institute really focuses on is some of these internal barriers, like English learning, just understanding how business works, but then just that attitude of, oh no, I can't do it. I'm an immigrant, or I'm second generation. There's going to be all these challenges. Sure, there might be challenges, but if we have that innovative entrepreneurial spirit, that can overcome many barriers. So we advocate for more limited government. We advocate for, in general, just understanding that fewer barriers will promote progress.
Absolutely.
And we do that through educating our community on these topics, and that's really exciting. Then the other pillar, the second one, is education. This is really important. So we try to do a lot in helping our community understanding which education options exist in Virginia, in their county. how to have parents that are involved in children's education, and then also providing education for the community. A bulk of what we do in Northern Virginia and Richmond is offer English classes in which we offer American history and citizenship test knowledge. So it's kind of education for children, but also...
Which is really key,
Yeah.
because
Sure.
we talked about it all the time on the show. Like many Hispanics, even though we speak English, right, the challenge can often be those specific jargon words. Like you enter into business and you can say, yeah, I can speak English sufficiently to communicate, but then you enter into business and there are these significant words that you may not even have learned in Spanish.
Exactly.
Let alone
Yeah.
in English, and now you have to suddenly learn them in a completely different language. So to have those resources to say, all right, here's how you can learn English specifically for certain areas is just so key, because it can help people to become more successful and make sure they're not confused or discouraged or even taken advantage of because they're getting legal documents or business documents put in front of them and you're like, well, I speak English, but I've never seen this word before.
Yeah, and so we cover all of that in our entrepreneurship workshops, which, I mean, by the way, Libre Institute is not only in Virginia, we're across the country, and a lot of the engagement directors that work with us have been, recognized for their work in the community, because a lot of people that come to our business workshops end up just being wildly successful. I had a one-person immigrant from Venezuela come to one of our entrepreneurship workshops in Richmond, and she had a small catering business, but our workshops and just our attitude, our encouragement to really pursue the American dream really launched her into, she has her own location in Richmond. She opened her own restaurant, and it's just been amazing to see her bloom and grow. So, yeah.
That's fantastic.
That's where education really is a big pillar of what we do.
No, I was going to say, I mean, when you think about, I mean, those 4 pillars, even though they should be part of everybody's lives, right? When you think of the Hispanic community, I mean, faith, la fe, right? La familia, right? Those 2 is what really begins, it's the nurturing of everything else, right? And then after that, as you mentioned, right, education, extremely important. And I remember, I mean, so my parents came here from Cuba in the 60s, and I remember them at night going to school to learn English, right? So they worked during the day, at night they went to school. And I think that was, so back then, it was even more important because there weren't that many people speaking Spanish back then. So in the business they worked, it was either English or die, right? And I think that's important to have the ability to go somewhere where they're going to teach you not only English, but the English that you're going to need to succeed, right? I mean, that's, as Alex was saying, that's so important, right? And I'm all with you on the freedoms of, small government. Small business is already a challenge. I mean, to start your own business, and then you see all the barriers that are put, red tape that is in front of you, and you say, a large corporation has, 20 lawyers and a whole bunch of other people say, yeah, I can take care of that. As you start your own business, you're looking, going, boy, I mean, how do I do that? How do I take care of that? How do I pay for that? Before you know, it's like, you're in debt by $100,000 just from lawyer fees and licensing fees and things before you even start your business. So I think this is great to be able to help entrepreneurs and the Hispanic community, which has that spirit. You can see it. I think your work is fantastic. I'm so happy to hear it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that Hispanics start businesses at 3 times the rate as the general population. I mean,
One of our favorite statistics
it's
here on the show.
probably oft repeated, but it's remarkable, and I'm not sure about the exact number, but I know I'm ballpark correct that in Virginia, sometimes starting a new business can cost $80,000 just the initial launching, and that's just a ginormous barrier. But it's one that, if you understand the laws that exist in your county and your state, that at least you can, it can be easier to navigate. And then just to cover the last 2 pillars quickly, I mean, faith and family. A lot of the community in the Hispanic community does surround around faith,
right.
And we partner with a lot of churches wherever we go to just be a resource for them. Like, hey, if this is something that you want in your community, we can offer it. And it's lovely to work with anyone to do good. One of our heroes in the Libre Institute is Frederick Douglass, and he was championed. He's remembered for this saying, work with no one to do evil and work with anyone to do good. And we really believe that. We are nonpartisan. Obviously, we have that limited government, freedom-minded bent, but we work with anyone who wants to advance these principles, and we have, and I love that. And then, family is super important. We all value our families.
Absolutely.
And it's the center point, as you're saying. It's the beginning of these things. Where do we first learn? Where do we first understand to be entrepreneurial? It's often in the family. So our Libre Institute chapters in Colorado actually have been really big champions of offering parenting classes and all that stuff.
Which is really good. I mean, how many of the amazing Latina entrepreneurs that we have on the show, when we ask them what prepared you to be an entrepreneur, said, I was running a household.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Being part of the family and running the family in itself is a kind of a home autonomy. I mean, there used to be home autonomy classes.
You have to balance the budget when you run a family.
You have to balance the budget when you run a family, and then it translates so beautifully into then when they go out there and say, their kids go to college, and then they're like, what now? And like, hey, I can start a business because I have a lot of the skills to be able to
and then can they begin to fulfill their dreams, right? So you'll have dreams, but you have a family, you take care of your family, because that's usually the way it works in most cases. Family comes first. They take care of the family, and once, as you mentioned, the kids are either in college or they're on their own, it's like, now I can fulfill my dream.
Well, the kids are part of the business.
Yeah. It could be. That's right. How many times we see that?
Exactly.
Yeah, and I mean, everyone wants to learn more Greek. So I mean, even the word oikos, where we get economy, means economy or household. It means like the business unit of the home. So I tell that to our students all the time because everyone wants to learn more Greek. Obviously.
Exactly. Nicholas Orby, if he was here, he'd be like, yes, Greek.
And I mean, I know you didn't ask, but I mean, the thing that really keeps me running to keep working for Libre Institute, which can be difficult, managing so many things across the state, is just when I tell people, hey, why did the first people come to America? They came to America for the same reasons you guys did, looking for better opportunities, looking for more freedom. And some of the people that we work with have really, I mean, all the horror stories that you hear of people overcoming just unthinkable and unimaginable circumstances, our students have gone through those things,
right.
And facing just a lot of barriers in terms of just immigration challenges, and it's really sad. But to see that the most American thing that you can do is to come here in search of better opportunities for yourself and for your kids, and just to, when I see in their eyes that aha moment of, oh my goodness, like, I am American. It doesn't matter what my passport says. I'm on my way to becoming an exemplary citizen because I'm embodying what it means to be American. I mean, just last week I was reading with our advanced class the new Colossus, the poem that's on the Statue of Liberty, and I knew those English words are difficult, but when they saw, oh my goodness, like, this is me, like this just I'm the person yearning to breathe free, and America is welcoming me, and Libre Institute is the one at the gate welcoming us and helping us. That really fires me up.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So for Latinos that want to get connected, to engage with Libre Institute, what are some of the ways that you can find out where classes are being held, what events are going on, and so forth? Yeah, so for everyone generally, just thelibreInstitute.org, thelibreInstitute.org. You'll be able to sign up, and then when you put your zip code in, it'll actually connect you to the correct
Closest,
engagement director,
yeah.
depending on your state or location in the state. For Virginia, you can go there, but we also have a really interesting resource on what we believe on education and increasing access to education. And one of the big things we do most falls, we haven't in the pandemic, but hoping to do it again this year, would be like a backpack giveaway, school supplies, back to school event, in which we educate parents on all of of the options that exist. You know, there are some counties that allow for intra-district choice. Like you can go to a different school than the one that's tied to your zip code. There's other education options out there depending on the needs of your child. So if you go to educationlibreva.com, you'll actually see a bunch of video testimonials, and there's a petition to sign, like, I agree with the Libre Institute about education. And so that I would really encourage everybody to go there as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I just had a quick question. Given
sure.
the economic environment we're in, being that inflation is so high, and obviously it looks like we're either in a recession, going into a recession, or things seem to be slowing down a little bit. Do you still see as many entrepreneurs come at your door and want to start businesses?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. And I mean, we cannot ignore the inflation crisis that's going on. And some of our business owners are like, a lot of the business people that come to our classes are young moms or middle-aged moms who do catering businesses, and they're like, the price of oil, the price of food and groceries have really just soared.
Absolutely.
And it breaks my heart when they say, I mean, this reminds me of Venezuela that I escaped from. And it's that the same ideas that happened in Venezuela of increased government control in some forms have come here. And a lot of them feel like they feel cursed, like socialism is chasing them. And I'm not saying that America is a socialist country by far from it, but there are things that we can do to get us out of this inflation crisis, and everybody knows that. However, the Libre Institute, what we can do is just encourage people to, in their lives, understand the laws, understand what's going on, and then we do a lot of leadership training. Okay, do you want to make a change in your community? We can teach you how to reach out to lawmakers. We can teach you what the correct processes are for those, and then they can go make the changes that they need on their own.
And that's important. That's important, because I don't think, I would assume that there's a majority of Hispanic community that they're just, again, family comes first. I got my business. I'm going to do everything I can to put food on the table, and don't realize that in addition to that, they can be part of that, political, forum where it's like just sitting down with your representative and say, hey, you know what? I mean, these things are going on that are hurting us. You need to find ways to help us, right? So at least he knows, the people in my community are suffering for this reason, and now I need to go back, right, and say, hey, we need to find ways to make sure that doesn't happen there. Not put more laws, but take away some of the things, some of the barriers.
Yeah, freedom drives progress.
Exactly.
And part of freedom, and one of the beautiful things of this country, is you can reach out to your lawmakers.
Exactly.
And a lot of these people are shocked, like, oh my gosh, I can just call my senator, or I can just call my delegate or whatever. It's like, here's how.
Think about it. If you've come from a place like Cuba or a place like Venezuela, you're just not familiar with that. There's no one.
There's nobody to contact.
Yeah, exactly. In a communist government, they don't care. What your personal opinion is. So all right, you get back to work. And so I think sometimes it's overcoming, like you said, those sort of cultural barriers that we put of, oh no, the banks are completely unreliable. When in America, you can trust the banks a little bit more. You can actually open a bank account and they won't steal all your money.
Right.
You can actually talk to your representative. You can actually, for some people, Cuba, Venezuela, you can actually start a business as opposed to not being able to start one at all.
Yes.
So sometimes it's just letting people know, letting the Hispanic community know, these are, in addition to us working to remove certain barriers, these are areas where you may not know, given where you came from, that this is something you can do here. It's like you said, teaching that the American dream applies to the Latino, to the Hispanic community. We are an embodiment of the American dream.
Yes.
And sometimes we just have to be reminded of that. It's like, yes, you are in fact.
And in a way, though, it's nice to know that you have a partner in Libre Institute, right? You can probably go there and say, how do I reach out to this person? How do I, I have this issue. How do I deal with it? And I'm sure you point them in the right direction.
Yeah, and Libre Institute, we don't actually organize campaigns or
no, of course.
on issues of, we are exclusively educational.
Of course.
However, we can train people on how to do that. If they have an initiative that they want to work on, we can say, hey, these are the processes.
Exactly.
And man, I could talk forever about this stuff, but it just fills me with great joy to see people doing that and to see people excited about creating change in their communities. And that's what it's all about. Like, there's definitely a lot of organizations and individual churches and even individuals who offer English classes or business courses, but that emphasis on removing internal barriers, that emphasis on embracing freedom-minded principles in your life, that's something that's really unique to the Libre Institute, and I'm excited to see us growing in Virginia and across the country.
So that's fabulous. I mean, I think I wish that could happen to everybody, not just the Hispanics, because I think a little bit in this country we've lost a little bit of that. I mean, that sense of I want to be free, right? I think we've lost it a little bit.
That
and,
I can do this.
Yeah, exactly.
mentality
I have
of
the
like,
ability
I
to
can
do this,
start-
and I should do this.
Yeah, I mean, in some ways, you could argue with how often we start businesses, Hispanics sometimes have a little bit more of that than even native-born Americans at this point, of that sense of you come here and you say, I'm going to start
Yeah.
a small business. Like, my way of sharing my culture, what I love to do, my being Hispanic is, I'm not going to work for someone else. I'm going to start a small business.
Yeah, and probably because either they or their parents have already overcome, imagine what it takes to just leave everything. And I mean, you would probably know a thing or two about that, just leaving absolutely everything, because you know that in America you're going to have a better chance at pursuing your dreams than wherever you were. I mean, I wouldn't do that. I'd be scared to do that. So maybe that contributes to the entrepreneurial
I
spirit.
think so. You have to be
And-
entrepreneurial to
Yeah.
take that.
The spirit. I mean, as you said, the spirit of leaving your country, right, where you were born, the language that you know, you're comfortable with. You go to another country, you don't speak the language, and you don't have a penny in your pocket. Imagine starting from there. I mean, you already have to have that kind of spirit, entrepreneurial spirit to do that, right? I mean, that tells you enough right there.
Absolutely. And even some kudos from the community. Vanessa Parkhill, thanks for watching the show this morning, says thank you for encouraging civic engagement with the people who come to the Libre Institute.
Yeah. You're welcome.
No, thanks.
And if you want to get involved, as I said, the libreinstitute.org. And then if you want to get involved in specifically our education on education, educationlibreva.com.
Educationlibreva.com. This has been
This has been good.
fantastic.
Yeah, I think,
Can't tell you how
I mean,
much.
I'm hoping more and more, Hispanics learn about this, because I think this is very good for them.
Yeah, no, and we're putting
Yeah.
some information on this in the chat, and it is busy there. You can find both links. We've put them into the chat, and then we'll share some of this information to the. It's already, I think, the live streaming there, but we'll also share some information to the Forward Adelante Facebook page, so that you can get, for the local Hispanic community here in Charlottesville, you can get connected with Libre Institute through Forward Adelante. So just Joshua, thanks. Thank you
Muchas
so much
gracias,
for coming on.
Joshua.
Thank you so much. Muchas gracias por tenerme aquí.
Ha sido un placer.
Yes, let's
Un
do
gran
it.
placer.
Let's do it again if
Absolutely,
you want. So,
absolutely. We will have you back.
Awesome.
So thank you so much.
Thank you.
thank you.
That's inspiring.
That is inspiring.
Isn't it?
Just as people who love you and I, we just love what
The entrepreneurial spirit, right?
entrepreneurial
And
spirit
then
of the Latino
to see, Libre Institute of Virginia really helping out that community. I mean, I just think that's great.
Encouraging that
Yeah,
spirit.
because the point is, they already have the spirit, right? And to have, in a way, a little partner that's helping them along the way, I think, and as he mentioned, sometimes the barriers are just internal. I can't do
Exactly.
it. I don't think I could do it. I don't speak well enough, whatever, to break through that barrier and say, no, you can. You can,
Yeah.
because
One-
what you've done is already incredible. You just now have to truly believe in yourself, and we're here to help you.
Exactly. And Olga Morse, founder of Forward,
Yes.
used to talk about it all the time, of sometimes the message that Hispanics get from the outside was, no, you can't do this
Yeah.
on your own. There's so many barriers against you. It's stacked against you.
Yes.
The country isn't really for you, and you can't do this. You won't succeed. And Olga used to say, what people need is not a handout, but a hand up.
Exactly.
To say, no,
That's
no,
great.
no,
That's a great
you
word.
can do
Yes.
this. Yes, there might be challenges, but you can overcome them. Look at what you've done so far. Look at what you've achieved just by having come to America, right? You can absolutely do this, and we will help you do this, rather than just give you the subsistence and say, well, here, no, just take this and be happy working for someone else. No, we can help you.
That's right.
Take that step and become a small business owner and be successful in America,
Yeah.
because we know you have what it takes.
And they have the strength, because think about it, from a lot of these places, like Joshua was mentioning, you come from Venezuela, and Venezuela, I'm sure, is a little bit like Cuba to the certain respect that, here, this is what you have to do in life, be happy and be quiet, right?
Exactly.
So it's like, no, I have other dreams. So they come to this country, they don't want to hear the same thing. They want to say, no, I want more. I came here because of the freedoms, and therefore you want somebody to take that hand, say, come here, I'll show you how to do it and make it done.
Absolutely.
Very good.
Very fantastic. So
And now we have,
a big,
who's this?
well, big
Who's
thank you.
this?
So we're having on the gentleman who found Joshua Ramon Libre Institute for
Oh,
us.
okay. We gotta give him some kudos.
And connected them to the show, which is Nicholas Erpy. He is the CMO of Emergent Financial Services. So
Welcome,
thanks
Nicholas.
for coming on, Nicholas.
Nice to
Well,
have
thank
you on
you
the
for having
show.
me.
It's been. I feel like it's been a while.
It has been a
Since-
while.
Well, since I've had you on the show, I think
When-
you've co-hosted the show, but I think it's been a
One
while.
time I hosted in your spot.
Yeah, one time you hosted for me, but it's been a while since I've had you as a guest
Yes, well,
on
it's
Today
good to be
Mañana,
here.
which
Yeah.
is your capacity. So Nicholas is here because
So-
recently,
Yesterday.
namely last night,
It was last
you
night,
went
last
to
night.
go see a dress rehearsal.
The
for-
final dress rehearsal for The Merry Widow by the Charlottesville Opera that they're putting on a new production of this year, and they chose The Merry Widow, and
Tell us
we
a
were-
little bit about what the experience
Is that in
was
English?
like.
It
Merry
is
Widow?
well, it wasn't written in English, but they have an English production, which is great because you kind of enjoy it the way you can understand everything without having to read because the Paramount does a great job, right? It's got the bars on the side and the little screens so that you can read. And they still do that for most of the songs so that you can, just in case you lose it in some of the operatic singing, you can still follow along. Although that wasn't actually a challenge, so it was great that they had it, but it was also not entirely necessary, which is something I was paying attention to. But it was in English. It was an operetta, which is different from an opera in the sense that they're usually a little shorter. Last night was still roughly 3 hours, but given the fact that Wagner can sometimes take 5 hours to watch, 3 hours
Short
is
by
actually on the
comparison.
shorter end.
What a way to get people excited about opera. It only takes 5 hours to see it.
It only takes well. Think about it. In the old days, that was your entertainment, so it was more worth
True.
it to see a 5-hour opera because you really didn't get to go to perform. You couldn't just
Yeah.
flip on the TV and get entertainment. But going back to, don't get me off topic because my
Sorry.
wife did warn me, like, don't go on a Puccini tangent. So I'm not, because I gotta stay
You're
focused on what I
forbidden
need
from
to
talking
do.
about Puccini.
So tell us
Yeah.
about last night.
Well, because an operetta is usually shorter. It has spoken dialogue, so it is somewhat more like a musical in that sense, in the sense that, like, to advance the plot, they will speak rather than a different opera in which everything is sung.
Song, exactly.
So there are moments in most operas that when you'll go that everything just has to be sung, even if it's called a recitative, they will recite the advancement of the plot until they get to the next song, per se.
So this one has some.
This has
so it's almost
spoken
so for
dialogue.
people who are familiar with musicals.
It's like a
It's a lot more
zarzuela.
like a musical.
It will be something that they can sort of connect with and be a little more accessible to them.
Exactly. The only difference is that obviously the style of singing is operatic. There are a lot more, I guess, traditionally operatic moments. You had duets, you've got the sextets, you've got choruses that come out. And the music obviously is styled more like an opera. It was written in, I think it premiered in 1905. It's Franz Lehár. He incorporated a lot more of the higher operatic techniques into this sort of smaller operetta. So the effect of the music tends to have those same moments. And there was a lot of it was a comedy, so it's hilarious.
Also,
So
that's
it was
important to know.
very, and it is because that's also one of the things that you hear about operas that Puccini, every female dies in one of his operas. Is that you have no, so and obviously that was one of the things that in the old days, tragedy meant somebody died, and then a comedy was that somebody got married. Like that, those two things always happen.
That's funny.
Yeah, no, and this goes all the way back to Shakespeare, right? A
Yeah.
comedy is two people get married. A tragedy is somebody dies, or at least one person, but sometimes more. So of course about the Merry Widow, that it's a comedy, it's a verbal comedy, but what they did a great job with the production is they added some, I don't want to go so far as to say it was slapstick, but the cast did a really good job of making funny moments throughout the opera. So Elizabeth and I sat in the balcony, my wife and I sat in the balcony because I also wanted to get a feel for like, if you were just sitting in the average seat, like what would the effect be? And you could see everything. That's what's great about the Paramount is it's perfect for.
So this was live, basically.
This was a live
Yeah, okay.
performance.
And that's
Everyone's
what's
on
going
the
to be, so, and the operetta will be live. Here.
It is alive. It's a
Okay,
live
so it's not on
performance. You've
screen.
got, Dr. Caroline Wara, who we had on the show.
Okay.
She is just a star. Like, her voice is so powerful, so great. You could hear it just like when she hits the high notes, you can feel it all the way up in the
Okay.
balcony.
Wow.
Right. I mean, it was one of those things that Berlioz, we always talk about, Berlioz talks about
the
the
musical
musical fluids, right? I mean, because that's why he didn't want theaters to get too large, is because you needed to have the effect
Feel the music.
of the music on you, and to have somebody that has that kind of star power, that the effect, which is something you don't get when people sing into a microphone. It's just,
Absolutely.
it doesn't hit,
I
yeah,
agree.
the speakers can get you, but you also know that the speaker isn't authentic. When somebody's voice is affecting you the same way that a speaker can affect you, it's just powerful. It just makes the difference. You just sit there like blown away.
Yeah.
You know, but in the meantime, you just go straight from that to the next, laughable moment. And actually, there was a small group of children that got a tour by Dr. Leanne, who was also on the
that's
show
great.
with us, of the Paramount, and they got to meet the conductor and they sat in the balcony for the first act, and they were just, all we could hear is kids laughing. Just like, we were laughing, the kids were laughing, and then, eventually we were the only kids in the balcony, Elizabeth and I, and we just had a great time. And actually, Elizabeth kind of said it best. I think her endorsement is the best endorsement, because she's not a huge opera fan, right? I'm the opera fan. I think in the entire family, probably, we would say. Yeah. Fair. And my wife is not. She was not necessarily familiar with opera before we started dating. And she actually said, I'd tell my girlfriends to go see this.
Yeah.
Like, right away. And she would tell them to go see it because it's so approachable, which is the goal of
Which I was
something
going to
like
ask,
an
but it looks
opera.
like even, so both adults and children could really enjoy this. So this would be a good thing,
Well, yeah, I was about to say,
take the family out.
yeah,
to see.
so the verbal comedy was funny, right? The plot was funny, right? Obviously, the events are supposed to be hilarious, and then they added some little, zanier moments by some of the supporting cast, so that the kids could have like a good time. Because there was probably a lot of things that maybe they wouldn't have understood as well as
Sure, of course.
as
Of course.
as adults would. But that's part of the thing, is that you create layers of comedy so that everyone can enjoy it, and it becomes a family fun event. And let's be real, that's what the whole point of operettas was, since
to sort of
they were
introduce
written.
people to the
Well,
quality of opera, but in a more accessible
I mean,
way.
that's what the Charlottesville Opera is doing. I was saying, like, originally operettas are written for people to enjoy themselves, right? Opera is supposed to be like high art. You're going to a fancy restaurant, you're going to get a rich dessert, and I always compare, that's what it is. I always compare Puccini to like the richest dessert you can have. It's that thick dark chocolate ganache tart, that you take one bite and you're full. Whereas with an operetta, it tends
but
to
also
be more
very
light.
bitter, also very bitter because everybody dies.
Yes, there's the cocoa powder. But meanwhile, on the other hand, I would say like the Merry Widow is kind of like a strawberry shortcake. It's just light and
See,
fresh.
that I like, yeah.
Yeah,
No,
very-
but what I'm saying is
I'm just not sure that you want to go with the bitter and, there are operas.
depends on
I mean,
what you
it
want.
depends on
But
the
not
opera. There are
Puccini.
operas that are just absolutely
there are
stunning and
comedic-
beautiful, regardless
Yes.
of the fact that they are,
Tra-
tragic.
Yeah,
Madame
well-
Butterfly is one of the greatest
It's
operas
still
ever,
tragic,
and
though.
yeah, it's tragic, but I wouldn't call it bitter and
But he was saying
Well,
chocolate
dark
ganache.
Dark
and-
chocolate.
I'm
the
sorry,
music,
it's
but
just,
the music is very richly written. So you're
Yeah.
experiencing music at a different, it's,
Yeah.
the idea is that an opera on that level is suffused with the music. That's how you describe it. Whereas something like this tends to be more lighter and more refreshing.
Absolutely. No, this is, if anything, this is a great entry point for anybody who hasn't ever been to an opera to really begin to get a feel for what an opera may be like, and at the same time enjoy it, because it is a comedy. It's going to be funny. There's going to be great singing, right?
Yeah,
exactly.
If she, who's the
Dr. Caroline
yeah,
Wara,
if she's got that great of a voice, right, and you hear that, I mean,
Oh,
there's nothing like it. I
nothing
mean,
like
the
it.
whole thing about operas, in my opinion, and you know how I feel about it,
Yeah.
is the arias. I mean, those are the best for me. I mean, when it's a single, either man or woman singing, and it's just coming right at you, it's just amazing.
What I
right?
loved is that there were great moments where I think there was a point at which there were 6 gentlemen on stage, if I'm counting correctly, and they sang a chorus, all the male, and it was one of those like very toe tapping type,
Yeah,
like you get
yeah,
really
yeah.
into it. It was phenomenal. They had special effects with the lighting in the moment. Like you could laugh, but I mean, it was the same effect of having 6 great singers on stage. All, and then they swapped, and then at a later point in the opera, there was a mix of, I think there was 3 men and 2 women that were singing all at the same
lot of
time at a
variety.
great moment. Oh, it was amazing because, of course, that's one of the fun thing about operas is, remember, you're supposed to sort of like manage your singers in the sense of like you're going to have moments of solos, you're going to have moments of duets, you're going to have moments of
Yeah,
sextets,
she did a lot
you're
of
going to have moments of
variety of
choruses.
songs instead of
There's
the
a
same type of
variety of the
song.
music that, of course, opera composers were, specifically designed into the operas, but you get a full variety of the music,
Yeah.
of the voices, and to be honest with you, everyone else was a great start too. Katie Henley, who was the engagement coordinator for the Charlottesville Opera, she played a part, she played a supporting role, she was hilarious, sang beautifully, and Elizabeth actually was extremely impressed with one of the other supporting cast, Andrew Stinson, who played one of the supporting roles as a male. He had a phenomenal song.
Yeah.
Or it was like roughly a solo. Just, again, I'm not sure that you could have gotten better singers to see at an opera, and that's what's great about the Charlottesville Opera is that they get
quality
top
of the
quality
singing.
singers.
Absolutely.
Like the
Yeah.
production, like everything was extremely well done. You couldn't have asked for more. And I mean,
So it's top quality opera, but right here in Charlottesville.
Yeah,
this
as
is-
opposed
I
to
mean,
having
that's
to drive
great.
all the way to New York City.
I mean,
Well,
basically
exactly.
what you're saying is that everybody in Charlottesville should get up and go see this.
yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
because it's entertaining, and I mean, the singing is
There's something for
is-
everyone.
Yeah,
I mean,
Wow.
it is experience you can't get. I mean, first of all, we're lucky in Charlottesville to have it.
absolutely.
Because I can guarantee you that there's probably even a lot of cities that are larger than us that probably don't have an opera that does a season
Oh,
every single
absolutely.
year. And you're getting a chance now to see top quality singers, live entertainment, something that we haven't had in a while, something
Yeah.
that we can all appreciate. And
At a
it just
beautiful
has
venue like the Paramount.
exactly historic
historic.
venue. I mean, it's just there's
And when is
What's
this
not to
happening?
like?
so we've got Friday and Sunday. So run out and get your
Friday and
tickets.
Sunday.
This Friday,
and this
Friday,
Sunday.
July 22nd, and Sunday, July 24th. Tickets at charlottesvilleopera.org.
Thank you. Alex
Very
has all the
easy.
info about
Very
that.
easy to find. Oh, yep, I was prepared. on
Alex
this
is
one.
prepared, yeah.
charlottesvilleopera.org. So super easy to find. We'll go ahead and put it in the
Tickets
comments
on
section for
Friday
you.
and Friday night, is it? And
Yes,
Sunday
Friday
night?
night and Sunday.
Friday
Is
night
it Sunday night? Do you remember?
and
Do you
Sunday.
have
Let's
Is it
double-
Sunday night or Sunday?
Let's double check right on air.
I was opening that
Charlottesville
right before I.
Opera.org 2022 season. We've got here we've got I'm seeing Friday, July 22nd, Sunday, July 24th, Paramount. They even is the link where you can buy tickets directly from the Paramount Theater. So you can also go to Paramount Theater to buy the tickets. The one on Sunday is
Awesome.
at 2 p.m.
2 p.m.
Okay,
So
good. So
Friday
there's a-
at 7:30 p.m. So you can have dinner downtown. You
during restaurant
have
week.
a beautiful restaurant.
that's right.
Go
It is
right
restaurant
over
week.
to the Paramount, and then Sunday you can go watch this at 2 p.m.
then have
and then
dinner.
have dinner afterwards.
Yes.
So
Either way.
Yeah, it
either
works out.
way,
It works.
you can have a beautiful day with Charlottesville Opera. So and it's extremely affordable ticket prices.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, so
Yeah.
like this is definitely accessible, fun. What's Nicholas Irby's final letter rating?
Oh no, this
What's
is
his
A plus
review?
plus. I
A
couldn't.
plus.
And like if you're asked to do a review, it's also fair to be like, were there any cons? So like, you sit there like, well, if there's something, you should say it. But I mean, I literally couldn't think of a single thing that I would say I had an issue because like I could hear everything perfectly well. I could see everything perfectly well. We weren't sitting like right
And
up
you were
close.
sitting in
We were in the
average
balcony.
seats, like
Yeah.
you were not sitting in like special seats or a box.
Yeah, no,
Like,
we
you were
sat
sitting
in the
seats that
balcony.
you'll get if you get some tickets.
Yeah. I mean, we sat in the front
sitting in
row
the
of
children's
balcony.
seats.
Yeah,
You
well,
were sitting in the
to
kids'
be honest with you, yeah,
Kids
we were in
section.
this kids section because all the kids sat with us. But I mean, that was the thing. We were up there in the balcony. We sat in the front row of the balcony because we
Oh,
wanted-
see, Elizabeth
But-
Irby's the best. She even commented Sunday at 2. She was telling us.
yeah, so she
She
knew.
found it for us. Thank you, Elizabeth, for watching.
Yeah. My wife's
and helping
counting
us
the
out.
back, yeah. But again, I mean, I think the strongest endorsement right there was the fact that the children to my left were laughing while they were there
Yeah,
and cracking
absolutely.
up. And
That's
my
a big
wife,
endorsement.
who was not necessarily an opera enthusiast, had a great time, and she
Yeah.
would recommend it to anyone who was interested in going out. Basically, you feel like going out and
Just
having a good time.
Yeah.
Just
wonderful.
go. I mean, it's enjoyable, and it introduces you to a whole world. I mean, it's the world of opera that doesn't necessarily get as much attention.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, and I think it's great that they chose the Merry Widow for this reason, is so that they could introduce a lot of people. So that
I think it's great. Yeah.
it's a stepping stone
Absolutely,
to really
absolutely.
understanding
That's exactly
and
what
being
you
able
have to
to
do.
appreciate
Yeah.
different sorts of opera. And it's great that they do. You know, last year was La Boheme, which is more of a tragedy,
Right.
And this year
Beautiful
was
opera,
yeah. No, I mean
Absolutely.
you can't beat it.
In fact,
but-
super easy. Would encourage everyone. You can either go to charlottesvilleopera.org. You can also go, if you do theparamount.net, the thing on top, like the very first thing on the rotating stream, is Charlottesville Opera presents the Merry Widow, and you can hit buy tickets.
yeah.
Beautiful.
So
I mean,
definitely encourage
you're
people to go
supporting
check it
the
out.
people in this community that are putting on a performance of the highest. I mean, Jerry had the post about like the first class city, right? And on the way of being a first class city, I mean, here you go. Here's your chance to help out with that. Like you
Yeah.
got your opera company. They're doing their best. They're giving you a top notch performance. It could not be better. The only difference between here and New York is that New York stage is much larger. That's it.
That's it.
No, I mean, I listen. You guys know how I feel about Charlottesville. I mean, I just think this is a fantastic city. I mean,
Yeah.
does it have the top quality of New York City and everything? No, but at the same time, the quality of life here is 10 times
yeah.
better. And you can, as you just mentioned, you can take your car and in 20 minutes you're in downtown. You can have dinner, right? A nice,
can see an
beautiful
opera.
dinner, and see an opera. In 20 minutes you're home. That doesn't happen
to
in New
be
York City
fair,
unless you live a few blocks away.
You
right?
can afford some of the best restaurants in Charlottesville, and you can easily afford to go to the
go to the
opera.
opera.
Exactly.
In New York, it's a lot more it's a lot more expensive to go to the opera, and it's a hell of a lot more expensive to go to a nice restaurant.
Absolutely.
So,
absolutely.
honestly, in
this is
Charlottesville,
this is a great
It's
city.
the
It's got something
value.
for
I mean, you
everybody.
can't beat it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I love Charlottesville.
Yeah.
I love
That's why we're at the
Seville. We love
Seville. I
Seville.
love Seville Network.
That's why
yeah.
we love being here.
That's
on
why
the
we're
I Love
here on this
Seville
network.
set. Thanks, Nick. Always love having you on.
I
and,
love being
talking
here,
about this.
and I love
Thanks,
talking about
absolutely.
opera. So
Got some
thanks
great-
for having me. Yeah.
Yeah, just love
Those are
being
great tips,
on.
absolutely.
Love being on the I
Yeah.
Love Seville Network set. We got a great guest next week as well. Thanks to you. We were going to have on Shannon Tinsley from Sweet Nana Cakes is going to join us. Another fantastic local small business owner.
Sweet. I love that word sweet. I don't know what
Sweet,
it is.
I know. Sweet Art
Sweet
Emporium this
people,
week. Sweet Nana
Sweet
Cakes.
breakfast.
There's more than one on the
Sweet
schedule.
candy.
But like,
That made it
Sweet
Xavier's day.
leche. What's that? Café con leche. Sweet
yeah,
café
there you
con
go.
leche.
Sweet
That's a
café
new
con
one. I
leche.
like that.
Absolutely. Love it.
All right. Well, this was good. This is great. Thank you, Nicholas.
no, but listen, thank you to Charlottesville Opera for inviting me. It was really generous
Yeah.
of them, and I had a phenomenal time, and so glad to be able to talk about it and tell everyone to go.
Absolutely. No, just really appreciate
Yeah.
having you both on. Loved being here on the show with you today.
Same here, Alex.
Had some fantastic guests that we really appreciated coming on, Erika and Joshua. Always really love our community engagement. Thanks so much, everyone, for your questions. Thanks, Vanessa Parker, for your comment. Just really appreciate your connection. You're always an encouraging voice here on the I Love Seville Network. So thank you, audience, for joining us. Thanks to our partners. Always love being powered by Craddock Serious Insurance, by Castle Hill Cider, by the Gym Seville, by Aqua Seville Hand Car Wash, GBS Financial Services, and of course Forward Adelante, the Premier Latino Networking Group. We are always presented by Emergent Financial Services here on the I Love Seville Network set. Thank you, Judah, behind the camera, making us all look good and managing all our multiple guests.
Absolutely,
And just
yeah.
thank you all so much. Thank you, Xavier. Thanks, Nick, for being in it.
Thank
And
you.
on behalf of all of us, we look forward to seeing you all next week. But until that time, hasta mañana. Thank you.